Yo, shalom family. Welcome back to another episode of Dabarym, the Scripture Research Institute. And we all about breaking down words in the scripture. You got to remember that the aleph beat, the letters, the words, when they're arranged, the letters when they're arranged and make words, these all are building blocks of scripture. These are the things that make up what we know as, quote unquote, the word. So when we talk about the word, we talk about Dabarym words, we talking about word studies, and word studies are a big part of Hebrew understanding, Hebrew culture, right? When we come into this walk, we start diving into it and studying it immediately, whether that's studying and learning about the name of Yahuwah, obviously one of the most important words in the Hebrew language, Yahusha, which we're going to talk about today, and a lot of other words, Shabbat, this, that. We really start getting into the vernacular of the culture, and it's so important. So in this Bible name series, we are finally at one of the most important words I've been anticipating, really giving this lesson, breaking down the understanding of it to you guys. Bible name series, we finally got to the book of Yahusha, right? Commonly called the book of Joshua. We know, we understand. That is what we taught. That is what we have been taught. That is what we have been told. I'm your brother, Dollar Yahoo, by the way, right? Baruch Abba Shem Yahuwah, man. Baruch are those who come in the name of Yahuwah. That's what we're doing, and we continuing to teach the nation, right? And this is the most important word. This is one of the most blessed people to come in the name of Yahuwah, Yahusha. So this is a great title, great book. So let's get into it. Lot of misunderstanding surrounding this name. So just to make sure we talking about the same thing, we on the same page. We just like we doing every lesson in this series, every video in this series. We just gonna give you guys the secular definition. So just to make sure we all on the same page, we talking about the same thing. We are now on the 6th video in this series. We talking about the 6th book of the Bible, breaking down the name in the Hebrew, right? So the definition is right here, front and center, plain and clear. It's called Joshua, obviously in the English language, but we are studying Hebrew, or how you say Hebrew in Hebrew, the Abadit, right? Abadit language. So in Abadit, how do you say this? So just so we clear, we're talking about this, right? Israelite leader, right? Or Yashralit, right? Yashralit leader who succeeded Moses and led his people into the promised land. No small thing, family. No small thing. Again, I'm gonna start with the foreshadowing, because we've read the scriptures and because we've been through it. And just generally, if you haven't read the scriptures, that's okay. We are living in the year 2025, which means it has been 2002. This man has walked the earth. None of this should be a secret. We looking back on this history, so we should all understand that. We talking about the book of Joshua, what's commonly called Joshua, the person whose name was Yahusha, which name is shared by another very important person named Yahusha. This person, what I'm pointing out, the foreshadowing that happened in the book that we should all understand at this point, is that Yahusha Benun led them into the promised land, but Yahushua HaMashiach is going to be at the door of the kingdom, and he's going to be the one that pretty much grants you access or denies you access into the kingdom. So very similar parallels between the two Yahushas. One took the people into the promised land. One you're going to have to see to get into the kingdom. So you should probably pay attention to this lesson, right? Talking about the 6th book of the Bible, okay? Which tells us and talks about the conquest of the land of Canaan and its division amongst the 12 tribes of Yasharal. So now that we're on the same page, we got all of that out of the way. Let's get into it. We're talking about this particular book. You see it, the book of Joshua. I'm telling you, it's the most important word, the single most important word in the whole scriptures, right? So the question that we ask every video in this series, right? We talking about uncovering secrets, and there's a lot of secrets in this book. This is the biggest one. What is the name of this book in the Abadi? And really, what you're gonna get in this lesson is I will show you guys how to be able to find this information out for yourself, how to fact check it, double check it. You know, in my 10 plus years in this walk, you know, I have some good teachers, and the best of them, they always tell you one thing: don't believe me, read it for yourself, find out for yourself. And the person that tells you that is communicating a couple things to you. First of all, he's telling you don't be lazy, right? First of all, they're telling you, don't just believe my word, that you should, again, like the scripture says, put the onus on yourself and study to show yourself approved, right? Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, right? And when we're talking about the person you're gonna have to see at the door, we talk about the person in which every knee is gonna bow to and every tongue gonna confess. It's kind of relevant. So don't believe me, do your own research, but I will give you guys the guidelines and the tools to find the answers, right? But the main question, we will uncover the secret. We're gonna talk about what is the name of this book in the Abadi and how can we tell, right? So we can tell by doing the same thing we have been doing, right, in this series. Usually when we're talking about the secrets in the book and the true name of that book, usually the answer is most often unlocked in chapter 1 verse 1 of that particular scroll. That's how the scrolls are named. You see the name that's on the top of the scroll, basically, or the first beginning of the scroll, that usually is the name of that scroll. It's usually that person's scroll. Very simple concept. So in this one we can see some Abadi, right, some Hebrew right here. And it says Yahi Yahi Akari, right? So, and it came to pass after, right? After Musha Abad Yahuwah. So after the death of Masha, the servant of Yahuwah. We see you got Yahuwah name highlighted because it's very similar to the name we reading, and the first three characters are the same, and they should be the same in any transliteration you looking at, and it's not the same in Joshua. So we already got a problem. So Masha Abad Yahuwah. So Moses, the servant of Yahuwah. Amar, right? Amar Yahuwah. So Yahuwah said, Al Yahusha Banun. So Yahuwah said unto Yahusha Banun. So right here we see the word right here, plain and clear. It's highlighted for you guys. If you can read the Abadi, right, without vowel points, it can clearly tell us that name is Yahusha. And we can look at the first three characters of Yahuwah, the Yad, the Ha, and the U. And you look at the first three characters of Yahusha, it's a Yad, Ha, and the U. That's kind of going to be important, right? That is very important. So take note. That's the first secret we are revealing for you guys. And I hope it makes sense. It's pretty clear to see though. Continuing on, we want to make it clear the thing that makes Dabarym, the Scriptural Research Institute, different from anybody else teaching Hebrew, is our very unique pound for pound transliteration. And what does that all mean? What are we saying, Daliyahu? We're just simply saying that we don't use vowel points, and there is no need to at all. And just explain the reasoning in 30 seconds. It's important to understand that vowel points came through the Masoretes, and their what we have now is the Masoretic text, which all English Bibles are translated from. This group of scribes, if you want to call them that, or people that empowered themselves to change the Hebrew word or whatever. What we have to understand about this group of people is this whole adding of the vowel point systems came after the Hebrews were exiled. After the temple burnt down hundreds of years later, these people who were they were calling themselves Hebrews, right? But we're not sure of the lineage of these people. The point is, Abraham didn't use it. Isaac, Jacob, David, Solomon, Yahusha, none of the people we're reading about, we didn't have vowel points. You can see the Paleo Hebrew right here on the right, very plainly written. They'll never use vowel points. And even the modern Hebrew on the left, there's no need for vowel points, right? We have a situation where we have a people who were not the original people in the land that it added to the text. You know, Yahuwah talks about not adding to the text. You know, that's something nobody should do, right? We copy it. That's it. That's all the scribes have ever done throughout history. That's why every scroll is the same. But after the true people were exiled, we have a lot of changes to the history of, to the language, right? To the culture. And the most biggest changes surrounded this name and the prophecies concerning this person. So we're going to show you guys that. But just looking at, again, it's pound for pound transliteration. Very simple. From right to left, looking at this Paleo font script, we got the yard right there. We transliterate that as a Y every time. There's no vowel points. We're not telling you it's an I sometime, and sometimes it's a W, sometimes it's a J with the vowel points on the left. No, that character yard is a Y every time. That's all we're doing. We're just simplifying it, pound for pound transliteration. I pray that that makes sense to you. The second character is a ha. Very simple ha. It's transliterated as an H every time. You see? Then we got the U. It looks like a U. A U on the stick. It's a peg. It's a ooh. Literally a double U. That's how you want to spell out this character full form. You just put a U 2 times, right? So we see the origins of the quote unquote W. It's a ooh character. It's the U. Every time it's transliterated as a U. And what looks like our modern W is actually a shan, right? Shan as SH character every time. We transliterate it as a SH into the Hebrew, into the English every time. It's so simple. And then we have the ayin, which is a circle. And the pictographic Hebrew, it was a picture of an eye. But it's transliterated as an A every time. What you should understand about that character though is that it's a little bit different slightly from the alaf, and it has a guttural, right? It's a character that has a guttural, slightly different sound than the just plain alaf, but the whole point is it's transliterated as an A every time. And it simply gives us Yahusha. And we will show you how this word is so simple, but yet so powerful. But we just wanted to walk through this transliteration very clearly for you guys, so you know exactly what we're saying, how it's spelled. You can recognize it in the Paleo Hebrew and the modern Hebrew script without problems and without vowel points. So carrying on, right? This is the point, right? So far we have been uncovering secrets, and the reason the reference point to identify what we're talking about and explain to you these secrets, right? We are using these reference numbers. These are Strong's Concordance numbers, reference number. This particular one we're talking about in this video is the Strong's number H3091, right? And again, this is the most important word you've never heard of, but it's something very interesting about this reference entry, right? This is the Strong's, like I said, H3091 Yahusha. But if you notice how it looks, you see I got it highlighted. It says Yahushua. Pronunciation says Yahushua. Transliteration is off. A lot of vowel markers, but they basically telling you Yehoshua. Yeah, that's anyway. What's important to know is, family, is some confusion involving this word, and it's been introduced purposely, right? So let's look at this entry in the Strong's, the blue box we referencing. Look at the root word, the etymology. It clearly tells us this word, it comes from, the etymology of the word comes from two separate words. The 3068, which is the most important word in Hebrew, but in my opinion maybe the second most, because the compound Yahusha is, you need that. That's the one we're gonna talk about. The scriptures tells us it's important. But we got Yahuwah name 3068. Bam, we got that. The second word of the etymology of Yahusha is Yasha. It simply means salvation, the H3467, and that's very important because Yasha is the root of this word. Yasha, Yahuwah saves. Yahuwah, Yasha. Yasha, Yahu. Yahusha when you put it together. And I'm gonna show you guys this Yasha, Yahu, Yahuwah, Yasha actually makes up another word. So in this one video, we're gonna give you guys the secrets to about 3 different Hebrew names. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. What I want to direct your attention to is the variant spellings, right? Because it tells us variant spellings for this word in the Strong's Gesenius is Yahushua, and then in the Strong's Gesenius we also have Yahusha. So which one is it? The important thing is that to note and understand is it tells us this word has been used a total of 218 times. I need you guys to remember that because that's going to be important. Obviously, the main point of this is just understanding the Strong's number. That's the reference point you guys will need. A lot of people don't understand the Strong's reference numbers, especially beginners. This may be a untold, maybe an uncovering, revealing a secret for you guys, but this Strong's number is important. You should write it down, reference it, go back and study it further, right? On your own time. But all of that to say, this word is very important because it means Yahuwah is salvation, or the salvation of Yahuwah, right? And it goes on to tell us in the outline of biblical usage, this word has been used a couple times, a couple different ways. Obviously, in this instance, in reference to the name of this book, That's the most important usage. The son of Nun, right, of the tribe of Ephraim and successor to Moses as the leader of the children of Yasharal, led the conquest of Canaan. So he's a military general, basically leader in Yasharal. It tells us that it's been used. This name has been used a couple other times for other people, right? A resident of Beit Shemesh, whose land the Ark of the Covenant came. Some important things happen with this name. This name is associated with it when you pay attention to it as well. Also, some secrets we uncovering, right? Some things you may not have known. The third one is very important, right? The son of Yehutzadak and high priest after the restoration. That's kind of important because it's a foreshadowing. High priest, Yahusha the high priest, really? Okay. Is Yahuwah trying to tell us something in the Old Testament or the first covenant that he's revealed to us in the renewed covenant? Maybe. That's why we need to pay attention. This is why we study. In the fourth outline of biblical usage tells us that this term, Yahusha, is also, in a different instance, the governor of Jerusalem under King Josiah, who gave his name to the gate of the city of Jerusalem, right? Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper, right? What we need to know and what we need to understand is, like I'm telling you, why I'm saying this is the most important name you'll ever mention. That's what scripture tells us. It's not me saying it, right? We turn our scriptures to Acts chapter 4, verse 10 through 12. It's written right here in scripture, right? It says, let it be known to all of you listening and everybody who reading this, right? And to all the people of Yasharal, that by the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, Yahushua HaMashiach. Obviously in the English it says Yahushua the Christ, but it's not that term is so it's not wrong. It's not a sin to say that. It's not wrong, but it's important to understand for sure. This is one of the secrets we unveiling. Newsflash, that's not what they called him. That's what's in our English text and our English Bibles, but that's not what they call him, right? Talking about Hebrew people at that time, Mashiach is the term. It's important to understand. If you look at this word Mashiach, if you take out the Y, we have the word Mashak. Mashak in the Abadit or the Hebrew language. That word means smear, right? Smear or to smear, literally to anoint, right? If you put the Y in it, Mashiach is anointed one. Yahusha was the anointed one. Yahushua HaMashiach. That is the name, that is the term you hear us say. I just want to explain it to you guys that this is kind of important, right? Let it be known to all of you and to all the people of Yasharal that by the name of Yahushua HaMashiach of Nazareth, whom you crucified, whom Elohim has raised from the dead, by him this man is standing before you well. And I want to raise my hand as well and say, by him, by Yahushua HaMashiach, I am standing before you well too, because by his stripes I am healed. I've been through a lot. Yahuwah has saved me from death many times. So Yahuwah is my salvation. I totally acknowledge the salvation of Yahuwah and I proclaim it as Yahusha. We know that to be true for sure. Continuing on, it reads and it tells us, right? This is the foreshadowing. It's the forefathers. This is the apostles, the Shalakim, people who Yahuwah's taught one, right? Yahusha's taught one. This is what they say. This Yahusha is the stone that was rejected by you, the builders, which has become the cornerstone. And there is salvation, right? Salvation, redemption, etc., etc. Right? There is salvation in no one else. For there is no other name under heaven given among men by which we must be saved. So it's like, Daliyahu, why are you saying that's the most important word ever? Okay, it's right here. Basically, if you want to get into the kingdom, you need to know this word. Thank me later. Just like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know how you feel about it. But this is the scripture. The point is, what we pointing out is this name is kind of important. And what we also want to point out is, beside this word being used as the name of Yahushua ben Nun, which we're going to talk about him, but it's important to understand that this name was a mystery in scripture, right? We see a character in scripture, right? We see it here in this verse. We're going to talk about it. Angel of Yahuwah, Malak Yahuwah. But the name of this person has been a mystery. Just like the name of the Mashiach, the prophecy surrounding him, his name was a mystery until it was revealed. as we just read. It was revealed to us. But that doesn't mean it hasn't appeared in scripture, right? It's a family name, but the purpose and the ultimate name of the person who was to come was a mystery until it was revealed. And we're going to show you some instances of this. Okay? Talking about this name, Yahusha, and why is it so important to us and to just be in our mouths. I'm just honored to even talk about this, to be sitting here bringing this message for real. So we talk about turning to the book of Judges, which is the next book we're going to cover in the series, which I will give you a little teaser. We call Shaphatim in the Abadit, right? In the Hebrew language, it's called Shaphatim. Shaphat is judge, Judges, Shaphatim. We're going to get to the definition and more examples of that in the next video in this series. Anyway, chapter 13, verse 17 to 18, it tells us, very interesting exchange. In Manoah, we're talking in this instance about the parents of Shimshon, what they call Samson. It's Samson's parents. And Manoah said to the Malak, it says angel, right? Another word that Dabarym, we're going to get to it, break it down for you guys, but we already using the Abadit because angel, again, our text has been anglicized, however you want to put it. Our text has been in the hands of people that are not of our culture, right? So when you say angel, there's a connotation. I'm pretty sure a lot of people on YouTube, which is primarily watched by people in America who speak English, they get a connotation or idea in their head when you say angel of a white person with curly hair, maybe a baby, right, with wings, dressed in all white. That is the image that has been given to us by the Roman Church, English Church, you know, the Catholic Church, which means universal. It's a universal image. It's a universal thing they portraying in our minds when we think of angel. The Hebrew word is malak, which simply means messenger, right? Literally, one who walks for another. So we're just breaking down this term angel because I'm saying that this person got a specific name. His name was a mystery, but you could tell me, well, Dalayahu, it was just an angel. All the angels, nothing special about the angels. The point is, this person who's called this entity, I'm gonna just say entity, that's called Malak Yahuwah. The other angels had names. Gabriel, Panuel, we know Mikael. When they come with a message to one of Yahuwah's servants, anybody in Yashua, they say, what's your name? They're gonna say, my name Mikael. My name Gabriel. He told me to bring this message. But for some reason, this particular messenger of Yahuwah, right, he got a different position. So he talking to Shimshon's parents, and he said, Samson's father said to him, what is your name? So that when your words come true, we may honor you. So the Malak of Yahuwah said to him, why do you ask my name, seeing that it is wonderful? What's so wonderful about this name, right? It called him Malak Yahuwah. Is that not this person's name? Malak Yahuwah, right? Again, Gabriel said his name, Mikael, Panuel, they said their name. Who is Malak Yahuwah? And why is his name so wonderful? That's what we got to talk about. Because when we start understanding and talking about this Malak, sometimes it's a man, sometimes they call him Elohim. It's a lot of associations with Yahusha. So this is what I'm trying to point out to you guys. This is the secrets we unveiling, right? The name that's a riddle and the parable. Again, this is two or more witnesses to establish the matter. So this instance right here, this passage, you see the book and chapter, the reference, right? It says Genesis chapter 32. Obviously, we know in Dabarym, the Hebrew Abadit community, by the sheet. We know it as by the sheet. Chapter 32, verse 29 and 30. And obviously, and honestly, I really recommend that you guys please take the time for your own studies. Again, like I alluded to, showing your own self-approval. Read this entire chapter, because I'm just giving you a pinch of the important part in here. But this is Jacob. This is Yasharal. This is Yasharal having his name changed. This is Yasharal having his name changed by somebody who, at first he said he saw a man. Then he said he saw a malak or angel. Then he said he was face to face with Elohim. So who has gone up, who has come down? Let's read what it says. It says, then Jacob asked him, please tell me, what is your name? Who else got a name special like this? He said, why is it that you ask my name? Why is this person don't want to say his name? And there he Baruch him, right? The malak right? Well, in this verse, it say Elohim. He saw Elohim. So Elohim Baruch Jacob. So Jacob called the name of that place Peniel. You see, it say Peniel, but we got the obelete right there for you, pound for pound. Peniel. We know Pan is face. All is Elohim. So he's saying, right, it says it right here, saying, for I have seen Elohim face to face, and yet my life has been delivered. So again, read the chapter for more context. But if he wrestling with the man that is a messenger, but he got a different attitude than most messengers, because he's not giving them his name. He wrestling with people, but he got the power to bless them. And then after walking away, Jacob said he saw Elohim. You tell me what's going on. So we talking about the name that's a riddle in the parable. I'm saying that this Malak Yahuwah is not any Malak, right? He has been around since the beginning. He established everything, and it came to the point where he was walking on earth, and he was revealed to all mankind, but specifically to the nation of Yasharal. But what we see is, this is not new. This is the people who studied Torah before had an inkling. They knew this. They understood this, right? And we talk about parable and riddle. It's important to understand the word mashal, right? Mashali, it means parable, right? And we know when Mashiach was on the earth, he spoke in what? Parables. So we talking about unveiling the secrets of you guys of the book of quote unquote Joshua. It's don't even want to say that no more. It's erroneous at this point. But you understand in Hebrew culture, we talking about unveiling secrets. You need to be skilled at understanding riddles, parables, mashali, right? We got somebody who was. This is the writings of our forefather Shalamah, right? Commonly called Solomon. But he wrote something very interesting in his Proverbs or Mashali, chapter 30, verse 4. He asked a few questions. He said, who has ascended to heaven and come down? That's a great question, because we saw a couple instances of somebody doing that, and he wasn't saying his name. Who has gathered the wind in his fist? Who has wrapped up the waters in the garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name? Surely you know it. Do we? I mean, this is why I guess this is why you listen to me. We listen to Dabarym because everybody don't know. But we trying to uncover it, and we giving you guys the scripture, and we clearly showing it's a riddle, it's a parable. This was a mystery at some point in the earth. 2025 years later, we should be looking at this with a lot of clarity, but that's still not the case. So we unveiling the secrets for you guys. What is his name? Who established everything? We know Yahuwah means that he is the existing one. So he existed before anything existed. So we got his name. What is his? He got a son? He went up and came down? This is a question. The previous scripture by the sheep, chapter 32. Was that Yahuwah wrestling with Jacob? Did the father really get off his throne and come down and wrestle with a man? Or was that, again, the Malak Yahuwah, the one who walks for Yahuwah, the one who embodies the power of Yahuwah? What is that? What is his name? Did he say the son of Yahuwah? What is his son's name? If you know it. So the name it's been hidden. Not to say that nobody never knew it. It's a name that it's not in the lineage of the Hebrew people, but it hadn't been revealed. Surely you know it. Obviously, this is the ESV translation I'm reading, but the KJV, I love the KJV because it's almost an idiom, and it's a phrase that goes together. It's been put in songs, in some Hebrew songs that I know it. Who has gone up? Who has come down? Who has gathered the wind in his fist and bound the waters in the garment? Who made the heavens, the earth, and everything on it? Who made it round? What is his name and what is his son's name? If you know. It's an important name. It's kind of important, right? And when we talk about this, right, we looked at the Strongs, and we saw how they actually put the word Yahushua with the word Yahusha, which is total like blasphemy. There's no other way to put it, because we breaking down the Aleph Beat. We looking at the word, the last character we did on the ABC, the Aleph Beat break down the word Kaf, for example. It's plenty of examples like this. It's a simple Hebrew word with two characters, but they got multiple Strong's number for it. They got two different reference numbers for the same exact word. Now you have this particular word spelled two different ways. One is a powerful statement in the message. One is kind of a more, it's not the same name. It's kind of dishonorable because it's saying he cried. And they put it under the same strong number. Why is this important? Because this word is so powerful, people were not allowed to speak it. Right? And I'm gonna show you guys. We talking about uncovering secrets in the book of Yahusha. Just understand that name Yahusha, the same name the Mashiach had. And that name was so powerful that we know about free speech. We got free speech. You can speak whatever you want to, but except for this one word. Right? We're gonna show you how this word has been purposely changed, altered, concealed, and covered up for centuries. And we're gonna prove it. Exhibit A, right here. Book of Acts, right? Ma'asah, Shalakim, the Acts of the disciples, the taught ones. This is what they were doing on the earth after Mashiach died, right? And it says, chapter 4, verse 18, for your reference, you guys. But I'm gonna put the scripture right here for you guys so we can quickly see it, right? It says, so they called them and charged them not to speak or teach at all in the name of Yahusha. Obviously, in your English translation, it say JES, which name we don't even utter, right? More of the controversy and the what's the word I'm looking for? Not controversy, but the conspiracy, because the same Yahusha that's in the Old Testament is translated as Joshua. The same Hebrew spelling in the New Testament is translated as JES. How can that be? So that tells us already that this scripture is true. They called them and charged them not to speak or teach at all in the name of Yahusha. So we can see why this is one of the most important words ever. They didn't tell them don't say Yahuwah's name, but this person who they killed and who was being proclaimed this word about him and spreading like wildfire through the earth, they wanted to cover up the name. So obviously that's why you don't see Yahusha in your scripture in English, right? We already know the name is erroneous just the fact that it's no letter J in Hebrew alone. But this whole Jesus thing is the deity that they just replaced over Yahusha. So we see that this name Yahusha, they were told not to speak that name. And we can see also why it makes sense to restore the name, because if you read this and you read in JES, it's like, how can we believe that they told them not to speak that name if it's just written there like that, right? And so again, to give you more witnesses to show that this was the case in these days and times. So when we see again the Masoretes change the word, they add PowerPoints and they change it from Yahuwah, Yahushua, whatever. Like they start changing different words. When we see these things, it's not a surprise. We see from this point on, after he was killed, there was an active campaign, literally, to erase these words from out of our mouths. Since then, so please just pause and let that sink in for a minute. Acts chapter 5, verse 40. It said when they had called the apostles, right? The Talmudim, the taught ones, the disciples. At this point, he died. He sent them out, charged them mission, sent them to the nation. They are shalakim. He sent them out. Commonly called apostles in the English, but sent that one, shalakim, right? They called all of those people who Yahushua was with, and they beat them and charged them not to speak in the name of Yahusha, and they let them go. I know your version gonna say JES, but that is not the powerful word. Sorry to break it to you. We gave you the Strong's number. Reference it for yourself. Even though Strong's in on it too, because they supposed to give that two reference numbers, but they put Shua and Yahusha under the same reference number, which is blasphemy. I'm gonna show you why. So we know the one word. We see that since he died, it was an active campaign to silence this word, right? This very powerful Hebrew word, very powerful. But the question is, it's a lot of other erroneous words that they transliterate as this word. It's not just Joshua, it's Yeshua, as the Jewish people say. You know, the Christians say Jesus. Man, forgive me, it just sounds dirty. It sounds so dirty for real. Saying that, it's dirty, man. And Yeshua too. Let's talk about them, because we know me, Daliyahu, I'm a Hebrew, right? Proudly believe that I'm bloodline, ancestral Hebrew from the slave ships from Africa to America, back to Africa again. We waiting to go home. Literally, that is the script written out for our people. But we got a people in the land claiming to be the people, but they not proclaiming Yahushua's name. What name do they say? They say Yeshua. And it's so funny, man. It's so funny. Somebody told me they know this is the right name. Yeshua is the right name because this is the name that they called out in the movie Passion of the Christ. So it got to be right? In the movie that falsely depicts our people, right? Take the story and make money off of it. And this is the name they said in the movie, so this got to be the right name. Woo, man, we got some work to do. First, let's talk about Yeshua, right? Because we got to get to, we're talking about Yahushua, but this word is shrouded in confusion. And we unveiling the secrets and we get into the truth. This is the most important name because this is the people who got the book, the people who holding on to the history, the culture, and quote unquote Judaism. They are claiming that they are the authority with the word. And this is the name that they saying is the name of salvation. Even though a lot of people in Judaism don't believe in Mashiach. So there's a lot of confusion around this term and around the truth in general. So no shade on anybody, no knock to anybody. I just want to just say this for me as a person and as a platform. Living for Yahuwah, every branch of the ministry, living for Yahuwah, Dabarym, invest in Yahuwah, Yahuwah Rapha. We not against anybody. Because people love to say, like, they love to be, again, this victim mentality, everybody against us. No, I got family as Christians. I have done business with and just a lot of great interactions with Jewish people, right? Not prejudice. This is not that. I hate when people try to even make it into that. But facts are facts and fiction is fiction. So this word Yeshua is an erroneous name. And this is the name of the Mashiach used in Judaism, right? The important thing to understand is this term only appears after the Babylonian captivity. Well, we have proof that the names of the exiles of Yehuda were purposely changed. I mean, we don't have to go any further in the book of Daniel when we see they changed the name of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into those are the names. But we know they got Hebrew names, then they changed it to the Babylonian names that worship their mighty one. Yeshua is the same case, right? Because what we see is the name of this person in prophecy is Yahusha, right? The word that came from Yahuwah was Yahusha. We got proof of that right here. The book of Haggai, chapter 1, verse 14, right? And it says, Yahuwah stirred up the spirit of Zerubbabel. So just for context, this is post-exile Hebrew history after the Babylonian captivity, right? Which we already know in Daniel. Daniel got his name changed, right? We call him Daniel because we know the Hebrew name, but they changed the name to Belshazzar, I believe that name. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, we even forget their Hebrew name. I can't reference it, but that's not even the point right here. Point is, no doubt the Hebrew names were changed in Babylon, and they would not change to favorable names. They were names that mocked us, right? So we got case in point, Yahusha ban Yahutsadak. Just note, the name in this verse is the H3091, the one we're talking about. Let me read the verse. And Yahuwah stirred up the spirit of Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, right, the governor of Yehuda, and the spirit of Yahusha ban Yahutsadak. This was a real person with a very prophetic name that gave some foreshadowing, right? His name was Yahusha ban Yahutsadak. He was the high priest, Kahan Haggadah, basically the big priest, in the spirit of all the remnant of the people. And they came and worked on the house of Yahuwah Sabaoth their Elohim. This is the name in prophecy. This is the true name. This is the literal name, same name as Yahusha Benun, given in prophecy and in scripture, right? Take note. Why is this same name written a different way in scripture? And this is what we see the first time we see Yeshua written. This is the name the Jewish people chose to take, and they say is the name of the Mashiach in Judaism. From their rabbis, their scribes, their culture, they saying the name that is holy and the name that is one name that's given to all men we should get salvation from is Yeshua. I'm gonna talk about this word in a minute. Let me just read the verse. This is in Ezra chapter 3 verse 2. It reads, and then arose Yeshua, the son of Yozadak. You see how the names start to become not even anglicized, but just They change it, right? They take away the power from the name. With his fellow priests and Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, with his kinsmen. And they built the altar of Elohim of Yasharal to offer burnt offerings on it, as it is written in the Torah of Moses, the man of Elohim. So 2 different instances, right? What's important to understand, first of all, with Azarah, the book of Ezra, this is almost like one of the first books after they come out of captivity. They are literally returning from captivity, and what he is doing is going through the genealogy, right, as is written, as they have it, the records that they have coming from Babylon. And this is how they have this name, this man's name recorded, Yeshua. You can see it's 2 different Strong's numbers. This erroneous name is the Strong's number H3442. Different Strong's number, different reference number. It has a different meaning. Shua means to cry. Literally, they changed the name of Yahuwah is our salvation, the salvation of Yahuwah, to he cries. He cries. So literally, that's what happened to the esteem of Yahuwah, the esteem of Yasharal in captivity. They changed his name to he cries. So again, the Babylonian captivity was not good for us. I mean, obviously we live. Yahuwah say, go to Babylon, plant trees, have fruits and daughters, give your daughters in the live normal life. So we lived through it, but it was not without repercussions, right? We came out with different names. They tried to alter our history and even how we look at ourselves, which we know is common in captivities, right? I.e., transatlantic slave trade, etc., etc. I mean, Deuteronomy 28 talks about that. We're not making this up. This is not just us talking about it. It's all relevant. It's all very, very, very relevant. And it ties into the name of Yahusha and how this name is given one way in the spirit, in prophecy by Yahuwah, and it's recorded another way in the genealogies after captivity. That is the point. And that is clear proof that the names were changed in Babylon. Besides the book of Daniel, right? We already know that happened. Continuing on, right? Understanding this Shua name, and we get back to the Strongs and the blasphemy, the travesty concerning this name. We back at the 3091. What I want you to highlight and understand is just look at this word, the KJV translation count, because this is why they tell you it's variant spelling. The word was used 218 times. How many times did this say Yahusha? 216 times. 216 times. It don't say that on this blue box. I'm telling you this fact. 216 times. It is the name we think it is. It's the name I'm telling you it is. Yahusha. You got 2 instances where they call him Yahushua. So it says Yahushua. They should have gave it a different reference number, because the 2 separate times were never in connection with prophecy. Let me just read this. Just 2 times this word Yahusha was used as the erroneous, definitely altered title of Yahushua, and it was never in reference to the Mashiach or any prophecy related to him or his name. The 2 times we see this word Yahushua in scripture, it is in reference to Yahushua Benun, and literally it's times, if you read the whole passage in context, they were literally crying about him, about Yahushua Benun. They were literally crying about him, and he is called Yahushua, right? First instance we have right here, Deuteronomy chapter 3 verse 21. This is Moses talking in the beginning of the book of Dabarym. He is explaining to the children of Yasharal what happened and why he not going to the promised land. So he literally crying, and he's saying, I commanded, this is the instance, Yahushua, at that time, your eyes have seen all that Yahuwah your Elohim has done to these 2 kings, so will Yahuwah do to all the kingdoms into which you are crossing. So Moses was in his feelings in this moment, and he called Yahusha Yahushua. That's important to understand. This term was in reference, this Yahushua term was in reference to Yahushua Benun, right? The second time, after Yahushua Benun was dead, the children of Yasharal speaking about him, literally crying. Judges, Shaphatim, chapter 2, verse 7, it reads, and the people served Yahuwah all the days of Yahusha. So literally we got both variants in spelling in one verse. The people served Yahuwah all the days of Yahusha, and all the days of the elders that outlived Yahushua. So it's spelled this the two variants right here in the same verse. Who has seen all the great works of Yahuwah that he did for Yasharal. So in these two instances where people were alluding to Yahushua ben Nun in their own way, right, crying about him, they talk about Yahushua. Never this word, that's the only time this word is used. It should be have a different reference number, because it's only these two times it has a varied spelling. Yes, in reference to the same person, but it should have a different reference number, because it kind of brings confusion and makes you think that the word Yahusha is Yahushua every time. And that is, it's just egregious. It is so egregious, because now we're taking the word of Yahusha, which is literally the most important word to ever be uttered in the Hebrew language, and we change it to Yahu Christ. So need to let that sink in. I hope it makes sense. I hope you understand it. If not, leave a comment. I will try to answer. So I'm pretty sure the question we get is, Dollar Yahoo, how can you be so sure about this word Yahusha, right? About the spelling of it, about the meaning of it. Well, we just looked at it, right? And it tells us right here. I want to turn your attention to the root word etymology. The etymology of this word is two words put together, and I will show you literally how these two words come together in the following slides. So we got Yahuwah and Yasha. Yasha is the 3467, and it means salvation. Go look it up yourself, and you will also see right here we got the word Husha. Husha. It's so simple. It's so easy to transliterate. I've given you all the tools to transliterate it. We're looking at the Strong's number H1954. We see it pound for pound. Husha. Husha. Very simple spelling. How can we be so sure about the name Yahusha? The name of Yahushua ben Nun was Husha before Mashiach changed it. And all he did was add one character. All he did was add a Yod, right? Which we know we transliterate into letter Y. Here's the proof in scripture, in case anybody's doubting. From Dabarym, or Numbers chapter 13 verse 8, and it reads, from the tribe of Ephraim, right? Yahuwah will add, Yahuwah enlarges Afar, Ephraim, Yahusha. Oh, sorry. Let me just read. Husha. This is also the name of another prophet. So I'm told you it's a bonus in this one most important word. We give you the whole breakdown of another word. We're going to get to the book of Husha. But this was a prophet in Yasharal as well, who carried this name of salvation. Husha. From the root word, Yasha. Very simple transliteration. Y-S-H-A. Yasha means salvation. You can look at it right here. Husha means salvation, right? From the tribe of Ephraim, Husha the son of Nun, right? If you drop down in chapter 13 to verse 16, it tells us, these were the names of the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Husha the son of Nun, Yahusha. So we see the pure name. We see the name that Moses said. This is the name of this person. This is the name of the book. This is the name of the Mashiach. Salvation of Yahuwah, right? We see salvation. Husha, all he did was add the Yah, which now he fulfilling prophecy, because Yahusha said, my father's name is in mine. I just showed you guys Yahusha, verse 1, chapter 1. Yahuwah name, Yahusha name. They right next to each other. The Yahu is part of his name. So any name without the Yahu is already wrong. So J-E-S-U-S name, so erroneous that it's black. Oh man, my stomach hurt. Man, let's go. So what prophecy? So I made a statement about those two times it says Yahushua, and I just made it clear and emphatically clear that that name was never mentioned in regard to Mashiach or in any prophecy. Again, but outside of the references to the literal person Yahushua ben Nun, every other time we see that Strong's 3091, H3091, the word is Yahusha, Yahuwah's salvation, the salvation of Yahuwah, right? And I mentioned that Yahusha is the only name ever given in prophecy concerning the Mashiach. So let's take a look at some of these prophecies and see if we can get anything from it. So this is the book of Zechariah. So remember, this is post-exile. What's happening? And it's obviously prophecy because Yahuwah is in the spirit right now. Let's see. And very interesting scenario, because we got, let me read it first. I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is Zechariah, what we call Zechariah. Yahuwah remembers, right? Yahuwah remembers. Zechariah, chapter 3. And we're going to jump around. Verse 1, verse 3, verse 6, and verse 8 and 9. Okay, stay with me. Verse 1. Then he showed me. He showed Yahuwah in the spirit, showed Zechariah. He showed me Yahusha, the high priest. The literal person we just was talking about. It's another literal person. Just like Yahusha Benun, we got Yahusha Ban Yahusada. Literal person. But he's showing him something in the spirit. This is a prophecy, no doubt. Okay, stick with me. Then he showed me Yahusha Haggadah, right? Kahan Haggadah, standing before Malak Yahuwah. It's him again. This messenger, the one who walking for Yahuwah, who got some type of power, because now he got a priest, the high priest of the nation standing before him, and Shaitan standing at his right hand to accuse him. It's interesting power dynamic. So we got Yahusha before somebody who may later be known as Yahusha. And Shaitan, we got the accuser, the adversary. Okay, let's continue. Verse 3. Now Yahusha was standing before Malak, the Malak, right? Clothed with filthy garments. Okay, you see this name in scripture every time in purple. H3091, salvation of Yahuwah, Yahusha. This is prophecy. It's talking about Yahusha. And coincidentally, Malak Yahuwah. And Malak Yahuwah solemnly assured Yahusha. What did he tell him? He said, "Hear now, O Yahusha, Kahan Haggadah, the big priest, the big one, not the little one. You and your friends who sit before you, for they are men of symbol." Right? Some versions, KJV say men of symbol. This is the ES. It says men who are a sign. What kind of sign? He said, "Behold, I will bring my servant the branch." So, if this is going over your head, you, my friend, need to do some more research. As soon as he say the branch, this is prophecy. It's prophecy of what we know to be Yahushua HaMashiach. Right? At this point, 2025 years later, looking back at this whole scenario, we should clearly understand everything that's happening right now. If you don't understand about the prophecies concerning the branch, you should read Isaiah 11, 9, 4, 14. So, oh man, it's too many. You just Google the branch, prophecy about the branch. Like, it's too many. But I see Isaiah 11. Okay, so he telling them, this Malaka Yahuwah, he's telling them, Yahusha the high priest, it says you are men of a symbol. And I'm telling you, everybody who's had the name Yahusha has been a symbolic character. It's a symbolic name. The name is very important. This is the prophecy right here. Tell me if this sounds familiar and who completes it. For behold, on the stone that I have set before Yahusha, on a single stone. It's important to understand when we say Ban, right? Yahusha Ban, Yahusadak, Yahusha Ban Nun. Ban is son, but if you put a alaf or a before Ban, then you have a Ban. A Ban is a stone. So son and stone in the Hebrew mindset are very similar. So he's saying, I set a stone before you, or maybe I set a sun, right? With 7 eyes. Eyes are symbolic in Hebrew culture. I talked about the letter Ayin. That's an eye. The letter I, the term eyes is like watchman. So he's saying 7 eyes, very interesting. 7 eyes, maybe eyes come in pairs, 7, 14. Taught ones plus Yahusha. Ain't no telling. This is prophecy. You gotta encode this. But read. I will engrave its inscription, declares Yahuwah Sabaoth. I will remove the iniquity of the land in a single day. Is that a prophecy or not? I wonder how that's going to happen and whose hand it's going to come by. No coincidence that the person mentioned in this prophecy is Yahusha. And I just want to point out, this is not the altered spelling. This is not Yeshua for my Jewish friends. Just so we clear, this never says Yeshua. Not Yahoo, no type of Shua. Yahoshua, all of them words are not the same as Yahusha. I want to make that clear for anybody who on the fence. That's so we don't confuse the name that brings salvation. Because it's an important topic. I feel for you guys. I want everybody to be saved. Yes. Continuing on. We mentioned that it's prophecies regarding this name. Let me give you another one, because we know 2 or more witnesses establishes the matter, right? It's the same book, but a different witness. chapter 6, it tells us, take from them silver and gold and make a crown. Make a crown. What's a crown for? And put it and set it on the head of Yahusha ben Yahusadak. So literally this whole name is a message. It's saying the salvation of Yahuwah, the sun, the stone, a bun is the root word of bun is banah, to build. The salvation of Yahuwah built upon Yahuwah righteousness. The righteousness of Yahuwah, Yahusadak means righteousness of Yahuwah. Yahuwah is righteous, right? Sadak is righteous. Yahu is Yahuwah. So this whole thing is a message. The salvation of Yahuwah built upon the righteousness of Yahuwah, the big priest. Really? This is prophecy no matter how you want to look at it. No matter how you understand it. Just understand that this is a word in purple. It's the H3091. And it's not the name that they put, the word that they put in the H3091, the Shua name, which is erroneous at this point, because it's not the same as Yahusha. Another thing I want to point out in this verse right here, when we talk about take the silver and the gold, no, set it on the hands. Let me go back. Let's see. I want to go back and show y'all something. This verse right here, it's another thing. It says he gonna inscribe something on a stone, right? What was in? So it made me think about this when he talk about put the crown on his head, because Yahushua HaMashiach, right? He had a crown put on his head. It was a crown of thorns, though. They disrespected him, but it was symbolic. But what was the inscription that was written? They wrote something above his head, because Yahuwah talk about an inscription being written, and he gonna take away the iniquity of the land in one day, and blah blah blah. So we just interpreting prophecy as Hebrews, right? This is what we should be doing, pouring over the word, studying to show ourselves approved. Yahuwah say, meditate on his word day and night. It say, on a single stone with 7 eyes, I will engrave its inscription. What was the inscription written above Yahushua's head? Oh yeah, it says sovereign of Yahshua, right? So it say take a crown, put it on the head. But what's the crown for? Don't forget, this person Yahushua is not only the high priest, the Kahan Haggadah, but he is the sovereign, right? Malak of Yahshua, right? And that was his charge before he died. Not to forget his charge. They charged him with something. They charged him with saying he was the sovereign of these people, the king of Yahshua. Don't forget that part. King, that's what they inscribed. And he did take away the iniquity of the land in one day, right? Right. Remember, we 2,025 years removed, so we should be looking back on this stuff with a lot of clarity at this point. Again, Psalms 110, chapter 110, verse 4. Don't necessarily mention the name of Yahushua in this prophecy, but when we talk about the Kahan Haggadah and how this person, type of role he would be, and again, it's the name and just the majesty with this name, the terms and titles that go along with this name. Reason Yahuwah has sworn it will not change his mind. You are a Kahan forever after the order of Malachi Sadak. So you got Yahuwah Sadak, then you got Malachi Sadak, again, the king of righteousness. Yahuwah is righteous. It's a lot of synonyms happening that go along with the term Yahusha. And I'm going to get to the synonyms later. I'll give you guys a bonus slide with just all of the terms that go along with this word Yahusha. Again, I'm trying to explain, why is it so important? Why do we take such pride in knowing his name, saying his name? Why do we take it so serious that we don't, that we guard Yahuwah's commandments, first of all, and not let the name of other mighty ones come out of our mouth? But why is this name so important? Again, talk about how Yahusha is important, how that's relevant with the Yahusha and the Malachi Sadak. Also, I just want to read this last part, how it says, see Hebrews chapter 7. Please just pay attention to that. Again, I'm imploring you guys to do further research. See Hebrews chapter 7. Right? If you want to understand more about how Malachi Sadak relates to Yahushua HaMashiach, you should read that chapter. You should read it. So again, the name of all names. I told you guys I would show you guys how the two root words of the H3091 come together, and you have it right here. So we not only give you guys the name of Yahusha, we gave you the name of the prophet Hosea, And we also breaking down the name of Isaiah, because his name is Yashayahu. Okay, so we looked at the H3091. It tells us it's 2 roots, and this man got it spelled out perfectly in his name. The 3068 Yahuwah, right? We see the Yahoo in the end of his name, and then we have, I forgot the strong number, but 3064 or something like that, Yasha, right? And we see those 2 words combined to make a compound Hebrew word, Yashayahu, commonly called Isaiah, but his name was the same meaning literally as Yahusha. So we see this word Yahusha is in and throughout all the scriptures. Like, it's crazy. It's a mystery, but it's also so blatant that his name was Husha before. Plain and simple. You can't misspell it. There's no Shua in there. Husha is Husha. That was his name. That's also the name of another prophet. It tells us his name was Yahusha. That was the name of Yahusha Banun, Yahusha Ban Yahutsadak. So it was already given in the lineage of our people before it was revealed. Then you got the prophet, the most famous prophet of all the prophets in the Hebrew culture. His name bears the name of Yahusha as well. It's an anecdotal piece of information. So when we talk about unveiling the secrets of the book of Joshua, man, I backed up the truck for you guys. Like, there is no ounce of doubt what is the set apart name. It shouldn't be any ounce of doubt. But continuing on, again, reading all of the synonyms that go along with this Hebrew word and phrase, ironically found in the book of Yashayahu. Wink, wink, message, hint. It reads, chapter 9, verse 6. For to us a child is born. To us a son is given. Literally a bun. Literally a bun. A son, a rock, a stone, a bun. Bun is son. If you put an alaf before bun, it is a stone, a rock. What did they say at the beginning when they said that's the most important thing? They say the stone that the builders have rejected has become chief cornerstone. I think so. Okay, anyway. To us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder. We're going to talk about this word government. That's an interesting name as well. And his name, so we're talking about the name. So that's what makes this scripture relevant, even though the name Yahusha isn't mentioned. Just the fact that it's in the book of Yahusha, book of Yashayahu, is so relevant. It says his name, again, this name was a mystery. Not saying that it wasn't ever mentioned in scripture, but it was a mystery. It's a mashal, a proverb, a riddle. Thanks to Shalom for pointing it out and making it so clear. He makes it so clear. It's like, without that, you could say Dalayahu, you reaching. But how can you say that? His name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty All, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. So these all synonymous terms. And don't forget, we know he would be called Emmanuel, like all among us. So we talked about, again, some extra synonyms, right? Bonus Dabarym words in regard to Yahusha. Again, having an understanding. I'm glad we making progress in Dabarym. You guys follow me up to this point that we have broken down some words. We started to break down the Aleph Beat, breaking down some of the names of these Bible book names. So you guys getting hip to the Abadite lingo, right? It takes real Hebrews to uncover the veil and bring you guys behind. As we start to do that, we can start to put together some of these names and get a message, right? I told you, Bun is son, but a bun is a rock. And Bun, the root of Bun is Bana, to build. So you could say salvation of Yahuwah, right? Yahusha, the son, or right, the stone of life, built upon life, seed of life. Noon is a seed, it's like life. So Yahusha is associated with life, right? Yahusha Bun Yahutsadak. Yahuwah is righteous. So Yahusha, that name, that title, they associated. It's synonymous almost. Malaki Sadak. We read that, Psalms 110. We know that would be, that's a prophecy that we know that Yahusha fulfilled. He is a priest after the order of the king of righteousness. Was he righteous? He didn't sin, right? Was he a king? Yeah, that was his charge, right? King of righteousness, is that him? Maybe. Every knee gonna bow, every tongue gonna confess. I'm just a messenger. I'm just Malak Dalayahu at this point, man. It says to him the government is given. I just want to point out this word government because it's mashara. This word, the root word of that is shar, right? Shar. Shar is an important word. One thing I didn't even highlight is in the book of Yahusha, commonly called Joshua, chapter 5, right? What we see is there was an encounter with Yahusha Benoon and a man, right? Another instance where we see this man with a sword, Malak Yahuwah, messenger of Yahuwah, a lot of terms given to him, but we saw him encounter Yahusha standing before Yahusha, basically. And he asked him, are you for us or for our enemies? And the man said, the man with the sword too, he had a sword. So, man, think about everything I just told you, all this thing that Yahusha Benoon had. He was like Moses. But then he bowed down to somebody else with a sword. That was said, and that man said, he come as the captain of the host of the army of Yahuwah. That word captain, or sometimes they say prince, is Shar. So he said he came as Shar Saba Yahuwah. That is in book of Joshua, or book of Yahusha, chapter 5. But I just highlighting the word Shar, prince, or the captain. That same word Shar Saba Yahuwah, it said that the government is given to him. Mashara. That's the word for government. So this person, the king of righteousness, Yahuwah, Yahusadak, Yahusha, the government is on his shoulders. Just understand that. But that's just highlighting that word for government because it's so much more detail in the Abadi, in the Hebrew. Another thing, this name is said to be Pala, wonderful. We saw that in the scripture. They say this, my name is wonderful. It's a Pala name, wonderful. That word kind of means difficult to understand. Something we just wanted to point out for you guys to know, understand. Yahusha is a Pala name. That name is Pala. If you ever heard of a name that was wonderful, that's it. Also, what you need to understand in regard to Yahusha, the person with his name will be like a leader, counselor. We just read that. Yashayahu, that word is Ya'atz, right? Counselor and Yashara. Another Hebrew word that's just full of depth and meaning. That's associated with the term Yahusha. The person with that name is said to be Gabor, right? Strong, right? Gabar is a warrior. Gabor, strong, powerful, mighty. All that we just saw. It told us that in scripture about this name, this term Yahusha. Person will be like, oh, who has went up? Who has come down? What is his name? What's his son's name? That person gotta be. Elohim is a plural term. Don't forget. This is what we breaking down these scriptures because you're not gonna get this context anywhere else. It's a plural term. But Yahusha, person with that name is like, oh, you see Yahusha Benoon, he ain't take no losses, man. He ain't had no problem conquesting that land. The person with this name will have a legacy, and that will be like Abi-Ad, like everlasting father, right? Continuing on. We see again, Prince of Peace, Shar Shalom, Prince. Same word that's in the root of Mashara, government. It's so much synergies in the Arabic language, and that's why we're teaching it. That's why we're proponents of it. That's why we live by it, and we will die by it. You know, let's understand that every knee gonna bow, every tongue gonna confess that Yahusha is the king of esteem of Yahuwah. So, as we bring this lesson to a close, appreciate you guys for listening. I hope you were following along. I hope everything I said made sense. Again, I implore you guys to continue to do your research, study to show yourself approved, and don't take my word for it. Go look at it in the Strong's. Look at the discrepancies in that Strong's number. Why did they put Yahushua first when it's only mentioned twice and 216 times? It clearly says Yahusha. Is Strong's in on the conspiracy or not? So y'all tell me what y'all think. Yahusha, what did we learn? Yahusha is commonly called Joshua. We could say J-E-S-U-S too. It's called both of those names, but right now we just focus on the book of Joshua. Just let you know, Yahusha is the correct term, and it is the 6th book of the Abadi scrolls known as the Bible. True. What else did we learn? The Abadi word is Strong's number H3091. Yahusha. Look it up. Do your homework. Let me know what you think. Yahusha means salvation of Yahuwah, or Yahuwah's salvation. Obviously, that's like the English nuances of it. The salvation of Yahuwah, Yahuwah's salvation, Yashayahu, Yahushaya, Yashayahu. You can put the word in different phrases. You can phrase the word different ways, but it means deliverance, salvation of Yahuwah. We know it's no one English word or phrase that can accurately convey the Abadi. And that's why we give you guys the synonyms, all the details, the strong number, the references, because you need to understand it thoroughly for yourself, because one Hebrew word has so many different connotations And that's important. Right? So this word means salvation of Yahuwah in the Abadi. And there is no other name, no other word or name, no Dabar, no Sham given among men by which we must be saved. Period. And we standing on that until he come back. We standing on that. Believe that. Believe that. Yahushua is a wonderful name and a parable that is hard to understand and fully comprehend. Woo! I'm just a messenger, man. I'm trying my best. Believe that. Believe that. The name of Yahushua has been concealed for sure. They did a good job hiding. If you listen to this and you ain't know that, yeah. Case in point. It was concealed and forbidden to even speak it. Thank you for free speech that we have today. We're gonna keep riding. Anyway, Yahushua is not, I repeat, is not the same as Yeshua, Yahshua, the other version, other spelling of Yahshua, Yehoshua, Yesu. Here in the Swahili and the Arabic, they say Yesu. They say Jes in the Christian church. Again, Jewish people say Yeshua. You got the Hebrew camps. They can't get off the hook either. You got the Ahaya Asher, Ahaya people. They say the name what Yeshaya. Man, people making up. But you see how they all close. They all try. They around Yahushua. They close. They kind of be fake synonymous, but it ain't the same. It ain't gonna pass. It's just it's not. It's just not the same. And we should, if any name, we gonna correct, uphold, revere. We gonna set it apart as Kadash. Come on now, Yasharal, come on with it, man. This is the reason why we doing Dabarym. This is the reason we breaking down the building blocks of scriptures. This is the reason why, literally, this is effectively a scripture research institute. All we doing is researching scripture. We need these type of institutions and establishments for our own people, for our own culture. You can't trust our captors. Hey man, listen. You want to go deep into biblical studies? Join our exclusive community on Patreon for private group study sessions, monthly meetings, where we explore the richness of scriptures together, unlock insights, and be a part of our growing community today. Listen, we on the continent, we teaching, we working. You know, again, just the books I got, the knowledge I got. I'm glad that Yahuwah brought me back to the continent. But I was able to see. Listen, if we able in America, you able to go on Amazon and just click and order a Strong's Concordance. You able to order Brown Driver's Briggs book. Listen, the books I have here, this is a library, and we want to have an institution. We want to have a physical location where people can come and study this and use the resources as a community. That's the goal of the Patreon, right? The Patreon, not to support the creator. It's not to put money in my pocket. We got an actual goal, right? We are people that literally coming out of slavery, and we need to create our community, right? We need to build these type of institutions of higher learning where people can actually come and study the scrolls. We actually have the artifacts present, the physical artifacts, the scrolls, the artifacts of our history there. Like, that's the whole point. That's the goal. Check out the Patreon, read more about the goals, the objectives of what we, if you want to support, that's great. That's a very noble cause. We implore you guys to do that. We implore you guys to not just study more, but join us, join the community. This is the type of community I wish we had when I was studying this stuff on my own, or just here and there with different people, a place where we can actually read, learn, study together. So it's your brother Daliyahu signing out, another lesson. See you guys in the next one. Shalom, shalom. Peace.